What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Killing the Void podcast. Today, we're going to be going over the Maga Bomber that's been in the news for a few days, sending pipe bombs to Democrat politicians. And we'll be going over the unfortunate mass shooting that happened at the Pittsburgh Synagogue Tree of Life this morning at 9 a.m. their time. Today is 10/27/2018. We're almost to Halloween here in America. And also the elections next month. Some people have already started doing their early voting through the mail. And I encourage everyone to go out and vote, both the left, right wing, and the independents and the whatevers. I'm an independent, and I'm here in California, so more than likely it's going to vote Democrat for mostly everything. Probably our taxes are going to go up even more, which sucks for me as a business owner. But anyways, let's move past this. Let's get on to the Maga Bomber, the crazy dude. I'm going to say their names today, but I may make it a point in the future not to say their names because I don't want to give credibility to these people, or credibility isn't the correct term. I don't want to make them into superheroes for these fucking crazy people that want to do stupid shit. So, but for today, I'm going to say their names. The Maga Bomber, his name is Cesar Sayoc. He's a 56-year-old Native American. He's from Florida. That's where he's being held right now in Miami jail. He was caught yesterday, October 26, 2018. He sent over a dozen. I believe it was 13 at the moment. They may find more. But as what they know of right now is he sent 13 pipe bombs through the U.S. Postal Service to Democrat politicians, including Obama's old headquarters and Hillary Clinton's headquarters and other politicians. These pipe bombs are mostly sent to the East Coast, mostly New York. I believe the first one was sent to New York, so that's where he'll be tried at for his crimes. And a couple were sent over here in the West Coast in California. So let's see. The former boss, Deborah Gurigian, says Sayoc was a good employee, but that he had some crazy political views. She says he told me more than once, "Deborah, I like you as a manager, but I hate you for being a lesbian. And if I had complete autonomy, you and all of these other people would be eradicated," Gurigian said. Okay, so that's his former boss. I believe he was like a dishwasher or something at a cafe. I believe she owns a diner or something like that. I could be wrong, but that's where they interviewed her. Anyways, was in a diner. Sayoc's former attorney. So I want to pause there. We're going to talk about what his attorney says, but Gurigian has a troubled history, at least since the 2000s. He's been arrested more than 10 times. And this isn't the first bomb threats he's had. And, alright, so let's talk about what his lawyer said in the previous occasions. Sayoc's former attorney, Ron Lowry, represented him starting in 2000 and 2001, and says Sayoc was a loner who lacked an understanding of reality. He certainly suffered an identification issue, so he didn't really know who he was as a person. And he needed people to be impressed with him, so he wanted attention. So he kind of filled certain roles to different people. He was kind of a chameleon, and he wanted people to like him. All right. So right now he's facing 5 federal charges, among them sending an illegal device and also making threats to former presidents and others. Each device consisted of roughly 6 inches of PVC pipe, a small clock, a battery, and some wiring, and what is known as energetic material. FBI Director Chris Wray said, "Though we're still analyzing devices in our laboratory, these are not hoax devices." So this is where the media and the FBI are not meeting eye to eye. Like I said earlier, both the left and the right wing media are saying that these bombs weren't built to go off, so to speak. So even if they were really bombs, he didn't do them correctly, so they weren't going to explode. And the FBI is saying that they were real bombs. So I believe we'll find out more in the coming days about how effective or ineffective these so-called pipe bombs were. If convicted, he could face up to 48 years in prison. For him, that's more than likely a death sentence since he's 56 years old. So he would be 104 years old until he can get out. I'm sure that his felony charges will be without early release for such a serious crime. They're not saying if this is going to be charged as a terrorist threat or anything. Right now, they're just saying bomb threat. Again, I'm not very political, or I'm not very into the legal system, so I don't know all the correct terminology. So please excuse me for being stupid. This case will ultimately be prosecuted in New York, like I said earlier. I think that's where they got the first pipe bomb threat. Convictions, he had earlier convictions, like I said, mentioned earlier, of retail theft and selling steroids. He also had death threats to his former judges in his other criminal cases, and also had bomb threats. So this put him on the FBI list for if something happens, he's gonna be an automatic suspect if there's some type of bombs. So he was on the watch list for the FBI. So that's one of the ways they caught him. They also caught him through DNA, which most likely was like fingerprints and skin. And also they caught him through phone records. So that would be through the Bush administration's Patriot Act, right? So they can record everything. All right, let's move on. He's had more than a dozen traffic tickets. In 2012, he went into bankruptcy. After being in bankruptcy, he went to go live with his mom, where he still lived to this day until arrested. This man's son is a Republican. I couldn't figure out. I was reading somewhere it said his son and somewhere it said him. So I'm not sure if he has a son, or if since they're saying that he lived with his mom and they're talking about her son. I had all the articles I was reading, they kind of contradicted themselves, so I believe there's a gray area here. Either way, this man is being portrayed as a Republican, far right Republican. Van had a lot of political stickers, so this is one of the main reasons. They were all pro-Trump, and they were very anti-Hillary Clinton and Obama. Hillary Clinton had stickers, or the stickers of Hillary Clinton had like target signs, like bullseye signs, and these stickers covered the entire van, all the windows. A lot of the right-wing media and people on the internet are saying that this is a false flag, that it's the Democrats, their whole foreign invasion of immigrants through South America in the recent days or weeks failed. So now they tried the bombing, and then today they tried the shooting, and they're trying to blame it all on the Republicans. So more liberals go out to vote in November, and all this mumbo jumbo. I really don't know. Me personally, I fall in the area where I believe in conspiracy theories, so I won't lie to you there. But I'm not going to call this a conspiracy theory, because what this man did was bad. If it was him, see, this is where the conspiracy theories goes in. Sometimes I believe that we have government officials and law enforcement agencies that pin crimes on people when they can't find the actual person doing the bad things. So they have fall people, I would say, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into all that in this podcast. There's other podcasts that focus on conspiracy theorists, and I may go into that in the future. But let's move on. Uh, so so we're talking about the van, how it had political stickers all over it. When the FBI found the van, they instantly covered it up with a tarp, which was weird. They didn't want the news to look at it, I suppose, but it ended up coming out, the pictures. Um, like I said, the bombs weren't designed to go off. That's one of the articles it was saying. He's owned a couple companies in the past, and they folded, I believe, through his bankruptcy issues. One of the companies was called Native American Catering and Vending, and then the other one was Proud Native American Low Price Dry Cleaning. So he was proud to be Native American, in other words, and he was a right-leaning Native American. I don't know why the articles added this, but he was a bodybuilder. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Only thing I could figure, bodybuilding helps you relieve stress, so that might have been one of the ways to keep him from committing more violent crimes earlier on in the 2000s. So he was caught, like I said, through the DNA and the phone records and all that stuff, and the past death threats to judges. He was arrested in 2002 for the bombing threat. He was arrested over 10 times in his life. He's lived with his mother. And right now, like I said, the left media is saying this is all Trump's fault for inciting hate speech. I personally, as an independent, I don't believe Trump is a hate speech guy. Before he became Republican, he was a Democrat his whole life. He was very big in the African American community, especially African American celebrities in the rap industry. He was also supportive of transgenders. So I don't believe Trump is a hate speech type guy. So I believe this is where the liberal media really upsets me by labeling people falsely, accusing them of stuff. And I have a lot of people on Facebook, and if they're listening to this podcast, I appreciate you listening. And I'm not trying to attack the left party. I'm just trying to say that do your own homework, do your own research, and don't believe everything the news says. And the same goes for the Republicans. Don't believe everything Fox News says. Do your own research. Don't even believe everything I say. But I am doing research for my podcast. It usually takes several hours. Some have taken over 20 hours of research. So I am trying to do my due diligence. And I'm not just watching Fox News and repeating what they're saying. Or I'm not watching CNN and repeating what they're saying. All right, so let's get away from that guy because we're not gonna have anything new come out for several days until he's probably moved to New York, and then we'll start getting more info, and then he'll die out for a couple years, until he goes to trial. Anyways, Robert D. Bowers is the synagogue massacre shooter that happened this morning about 9 a.m. their time in Pittsburgh, and it happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue, where they were doing worship. So it was a small congregation. There were only about a dozen of them were doing worship at the time when this man entered, this Robert Bowers. The news are attacking him pretty hard for hate speech, and also he will be charged for mostly hate speech. I believe this has a higher penalty than the death penalty. But he'll be charged for everything. So let me go through this. This white male, he's known to be on the Gab Fringe website. I'd never been to this. Obviously, it's like a Facebook, but it's not monitored. So you could write all this anti-gay, anti-Jew, anti-black, whatever, all this racist stuff on this social media site, and you won't get flagged and you won't get banned like Facebook does. Now, uh, I believe in free speech, and I don't think nobody really even knows about Gab other than the far right or trolls or the social dark web people. So to me, they could say whatever they want on there, and I'm not going to pay attention. Obviously, I'm Native American, Hispanic, and Japanese and white, so I have all these different races in me, and you know, people are gonna be hateful, and they could say whatever the fuck they want to say. I'm not gonna give them any attention or live day. And then we got assholes like this that go and shoot up a synagogue. So, okay, so let's get back on it. He's on his Gab Fringe website, and it's like a Facebook, but for weirdos. He was posting hate speech on anti-Semitism and immigration. So these are the two topics that he really hates. He hates the Muslims coming over. He hates the Jews coming over. He hates the Hispanics coming over. He hates the Asians coming over. So he hates everything. He hates all immigration, and he hates Jews in particular, their Jewish culture. And this is flooded all over his Gab website, and this is why it's being called a hate crime. The Democrats on the liberal news outlets are saying he's far right. So again, like I said earlier, in the mass bombing, the the left is going to really pin this on the right, and the right is going to call this a false flag and pin it on the left, saying that these are fake people, that it's really leftists that are doing this. So I don't know. I don't know. All I know is shit went down. A lot of stuff in October. A lot of stuff. And you can listen to my earlier podcast, episode 11. I have so many news stories that happened in October. It's crazy. Anyways, 11 of these people in the congregation were shot and killed dead, and 2 were injured, and 4 police officers. So 2 officers came in initially. It took about 20 minutes, 15 minutes to respond. And the 2 officers came in first. They got shot. They escaped back out. They did not die. 2 more came in. They got shot. And they went back out. Finally, this man was also shot. They didn't say how many times, but it sounds multiple times. So probably more than 4. And they weren't sure if it was him that shot himself or the cops that shot him. Most likely, I mean, the cops probably shot him, because this man, he surrendered. So the federal officials charged Mr. Bowers with 29 criminal counts. They include obstruction, the free exercise of religious belief, which is hate crime, and using a firearm to commit murder. The authorities said that he had no previous criminal history, and he is now facing the death penalty. So this 46-year-old shooter is now going to be in prison for the rest of his life, and hopefully they will kill him before he dies of old age. I do believe in the death penalty as an independent. And so one of the guns, that I believe he had a handgun and he had an assault rifle, an AR-15 style gun. And these AR-15s are very popular in today's shootings, and this is most likely going to be for the next several days. We're going to hear a lot about more gun laws being passed on the Democrats and all that stuff, and Trump not wanting to pass gun laws, and all this more background history checks, which I agree isn't a bad thing. When I bought my very first firearm, which was a couple months ago, is a handgun, because I want to maybe do get my carry certificate, and And anyways, I don't know why, but just to have it, in case I need it ever. But um, I had to wait for 10 days to here in California. I had to wait 10 days. And also in California, there's more gun specifications. So my gun that I bought here is different from the gun of the same model in Texas. It has a lot more safety features. And so I can't just easily go and shoot someone, so to speak. And I don't have a mind. I don't have a problem with it because I don't want to shoot anybody, anyways. But what I'm trying to say is that these gun laws are getting crazy, and I'm not really. I'm against more gun laws, but I'm not against the more time before you could receive your gun and more in-depth background investigations. So if people have to wait a month or 2 months to get their gun, and they have to have a full mental background investigation done, I'm okay with that. Let's do that. But making guns illegal, I'm not okay with that because that's what this country was founded on, was a rebellion. And I don't ever want another rebellion, but in case we ever do get a dictator, and the people need to have guns, all right? Because right now we have a lot of dictators in the world, and the civilians don't have guns, and they can't do anything about it. And this was one of the issues with Hitler. He took away all the guns from the people, and they couldn't overthrow him because they had no firearms. So like I said earlier, this Robert Bowers, was inside for about 20 minutes total. So this is very fast. The law enforcement handled this very fast, and they were actually surprised that more people inside didn't get shot or killed. And this is most likely because law enforcement did show up so quickly. The FBI on the scene, they said that this was the worst crime scene in over 20 years in Pittsburgh that they've seen. That it was just a nightmare when they went in. Obviously, they're not going to show the pictures out of respect for the family members. So my heart goes out to these people, to the Jewish people, and to these family members and the community. And also, my heart goes out to the Democratic people that received pipe bombs from the Maga Bombers. And my heart goes out to the Republicans that have been getting anthrax sent in the mail. So there's a lot of this civil unrest. And as an independent, I believe that the ones that are really pushing for all this chaos to go down right now are mostly the far left people. We have the Antifas, and we have the Black Lives Matter movement. We have the Black Panthers. Then we have the far right movements. The liberal left are blaming the new movement called Proud Boys, but I believe they're more antagonists than they are a hate group. So if you really dig into who the Proud Boys are, I believe they're going out to these liberal protests trying to incite violence, but they're not starting it first, so to speak. So they're kind of in these people's faces, like hit me, hit me, hit me, and then when they hit them, then that gives them a chance to defend themselves, and then they beat the leftist ass. So that's what the Proud Boys are all about, is poking at liberals. But we still have the far right people. A lot of people are calling these the internet trolls, and they believe in the Kek, the frog god, the Egyptian frog god, and it's called 4chan on the internet. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but these are the far rights, and they're a bunch of brain nerds. They're really smart. A lot of them are called incels. If you don't know what incels are, it's a term for predominantly white males, late 20s, early 30s, that haven't had sex. They're involuntary celibates. So what that means is these white males, they want to have sex, they want to have girlfriends, but no girls want them. So they're involuntary celibate, and they don't want to go pay for sex for whatever reason. When you talk to a sane person, even a person that doesn't believe in prostitution, they'll say, well, if it's such an issue to them, why don't they go and pay someone to have sex, you know? They could go to Vegas to the cat houses, or they can hire an escort if they don't want to go to the street. So these incels, these white men, are very racist. They have their own internet communities, and that's where a lot of the hate speech is coming from. This is where like I mentioned that site earlier that I haven't heard about until today, the Gab Fringe website. That's like a Facebook. These are the type of sites that these incels are going to, and it's predominantly whites. So this is where the leftist media is correct. But there are, you know, other races that are also doing this. But these are like support groups, and they feed off of each other. So the hate, it just keeps building, building, building. And then on the left, you have the Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and the Black Panthers. And I'm sorry, you guys on the left, the Black Panthers are equivalent to the KKK on the right. You guys really need to understand that. You guys are too forgetful of our history and how violent the Black Panthers are. They're killers and drug dealers, and they're just as bad. They're very racist. They're very bad people. So don't give those people any type of credit or due diligence. Those are bad people. The Black Lives Matter movement started with a good solid foundation. It was all about hands up, don't shoot. I believe that the people that started Black Lives Matter, they went into it with a good ending in their mind. This was to help fight against the cop violence towards African Americans. I believe all this was good, and then it started to be taken over by more of these, Antifa are mostly these white incels also, so, but they're the leftist incels. But then we have the African American type people that are just as bad as the white incel groups, and this is where they went into the Black Lives Matter movement, and they made the movement rot from the inside out like a cancer, and made the Black Lives movement lose all credibility, so to speak, in the predominantly world's eyes of view. Obviously, a lot of African Americans still today give credit to the Black Lives Matter movement, but unfortunately, most of the other races in the world, other ethnicities, don't give Black Lives Matter any type of credit other than the very few white Americans that are self-haters. And I don't want to say this in a bad way, but they believe that the whites are to blame for everything, so they hate their own race. And like I said, I'm a mixed race, so I'm everything. So I'm not this whole white versus black thing. But anyways, let's get back on topic. What I'm trying to say is, today in our political world, we have a lot of these things going up. There's a lot more bombings. There's a lot more shootings. And it's because of these groups that just hate. And I don't understand why there's so much hate in the world. And I said this in another podcast, and I'll say it again. I don't believe there was so much political unrest until Obama took office. Obviously, the end of Bush administration, when the Twin Towers were taken down via the airplanes flying into them, and the Pentagon also. That might have been the start of it. So it might be unfair for me to say it happened during the Obama administration. But The reason why I'm saying Obama administration is because after that happened to the Twin Towers, the terrorist attack, America was together. It was left, right, everyone was together. Everyone that lived here in America was, let's go to war, let's defend our country. This was a major injustice. Uh, then Obama took office. Then we had the right wing hate groups. This was true. They gave Obama a lot of shit, and it was unfair to him. They called him a Muslim. They said he wasn't born in the United States. And, you know, it's kind of like the same shit that happened when Trump became president, where the far leftists were saying a lot of hateful stuff as well. So neither side had it easy when they started their presidency. But one of the major flaws that Obama did have was when the Black Lives Matter movement started getting violent and out of control. He did not step in to say, hey, stop this hate type speech, stop these hate crimes. And he didn't call him out on it. Also, there was a lot of civil unrest in Chicago, and there still is today. And this is Trump's issue also. He hasn't done anything to help the Chicago people. Neither did Obama his whole administration. So it's been over 10 years now, and Chicago's south side is basically ran by gangs. Like, there's literally quarantined off where the police don't even go into these certain quarters of Chicago. So really, Obama should have sent in the National Guard, and also Trump should have sent in the National Guard. So I don't know what the hell's going on over there in Chicago, but why it's being left like that movie Divergence, where the fucking city was just like blocked off and people could run wild and do whatever they want. It's crazy. One of the things, I'm a big South Park fan. It's adult humor. A lot of people don't like South Park. And like I said, I'm independent, and I'm a multi-race, multi-ethnicity, and I don't really care about jokes that go too far. I don't care about racial jokes. I don't care about political jokes. I don't care about fat jokes or ugly jokes or um, uh, gay jokes. I can. I'm not a hater, but I can also laugh at certain jokes, and this is where South Park to me is a funny cartoon show, adult cartoon. But one of the things that they hit the nail on the head this season, was just a couple weeks ago. They aired an episode of school shootings, and so the school gets starts going off. The alarms start going off, and you hear lots of gunshots in the background and people screaming, and you have this classroom that's unfazed. The teacher's still going over, I believe it was like math problems or spelling or something, I don't remember. But the kids are just paying attention to the teacher. They're being good students. And like I said, in the background, you have all these screaming and shooting, and then they cut scenes to the front of the school where they're evacuating students, and there's police and SWAT team going in. And what South Park was trying to allude to was today's society is just completely numb to these mass shootings now. Now it's just like an everyday thing. It's like, well, it's not me getting shot, so it doesn't really matter. The little boys go home. One of the boys, he's sitting down for dinner. The mom's like, do you want to tell your dad what happened? She's so terrified that her son almost, was at the school shooting. And the son's like, oh yeah, Dad, I think I failed my math test. And the dad was like, whoa. And the mom was like, not that, the other thing. And the boy goes, oh yeah, we also had another school shooting today. And he goes, well, was it you? And he goes, no. And he goes, oh, well, did you almost get shot? And he goes, no. He goes, oh, okay, so what's this about you getting a F on your math test? And the mom flips out on the family because the dad's more focused on his son getting a failing grade on a test than there being a shooting at the school. Obviously, in real life, no parent, not even a bad parent, would be focusing on a math test versus a gun shooting. But they're trying to basically poke fun at today's society, and this is where my adult sense of humor is may differ from other people's, where I get the understanding that it is, if you sit back and look at our society, you can laugh at it. It's not a happy, joyful laugh. It's more like a sad laugh, like, oh my god, what the hell has our country gone to? We live in like a shitty culture where people don't care anymore about anything, and so it's kind of like laughing at the in the face of evil, so to speak, because we hear about these shootings, we hear about these bombings, and we hear about these people getting ran over by vehicles, and yeah, we'll all post on social media for a day or two, prayers and blessings, and I'm with France if it happened in France, or I'm with America if it happened in America, but or I'm with Jews since it happened in a synagogue today, but it's only for a couple days and then that goes away, and we forget all about it like it's never happened, and then a few days later there'll be another shooting, and then it's all over, and it's just constantly something going on in today's society, in today's world. It's worldwide. It's not just the Americas, and we're just numb to it now. If it's not happening to me, it doesn't really matter, so to speak. It does matter, but it doesn't matter, you know, to my life, so to speak, on a broader spectrum, because we just forget about it. And this is where South Park's coming to. Anyways, I'm going to end the podcast there because I've been on this weird tirade and I don't want to keep boring you guys. I hope you guys somewhat learned something about this episode. And remember, go out and vote. It doesn't matter what you are or what you vote for. If you vote for Pikachu, I don't care what you vote for. Barney. But go do something. All right, have a good day, and catch you guys in the next episode.